the winds guide you.
Hey everybody, Classic Wint's back again. Throughout the years, WoW has given us a lot of fun times, and it shouldn't be a shock to anyone watching that I truly believe the best times were back in Vanilla. Vanilla WoW was the king of the game's lifetime, so I wanted to go through 10 reasons why Vanilla WoW was the best, and why Classic is gonna be the next best WoW. 40-man raids were awesome. You slay a dragon, a fire lord, a stronger dragon, an ancient old god, an agent of the Lich King. Not once does anyone yell stop or enough, and then some NPC comes in and saves the day, or he escapes or some shit. Like, god damn it Blizzard, if you don't want us to kill your bosses, don't make them a raid boss. Just let the players do their thing. And you know, the raids also didn't invalidate the previous ones. It was cool that some of the items you got out of Molten Core, you never replaced them forever. Do you remember getting 39 people into Ventrilo, and then there's that one guy who has an open mic all the time, and then there's the other guy whose mic sounds like garbage and his dog's always barking, and then you realize, hey, why is there only 39 people in Vent and there's a 40-man raid? So then you're trying to figure out who the hell's not in Vent, and it's Jimmy, because Jimmy never stacks on the damn Surgers, so you kick Jimmy out of the raid. Well, don't worry guys, this year you're gonna get the chance to be that Jimmy. The fun isn't all at the end game. In Vanilla, we never really got the feeling of, oh, I need to rush through the leveling so I can get to the real game, because the entire game was the real game. Every single expansion suffers from that same problem, that you level for the sake of leveling, and that's it. You know, leveling should be about getting more powerful and stronger. Not only that, you never remember anything about the leveling from any expansion. In Vanilla, we all have these fond memories of leveling, and why is that? I think it's because in Vanilla, it embraced the RPG in MMORPG. You see, for the last 10 years in WoW, when you do a quest, you find yourself staring up at the map the whole time looking where to go, or some people, they just have an add-on and they follow the damn arrow. No, back then, what did you do? You read the quest. It's telling you to find some castle south of here. So then you look, okay, what way is south? That way. Okay, let's look around. Oh, there's a giant castle right there. That must be the one. It's so much better when you're staring at the game world and not at the map the whole time. Since the game started at level 1 and not at level 60, you know, that's what really made Vanilla a real game more so than any expansion. Nothing is just handed to you. I hate when MMORPGs, they just hand every item to you and it doesn't take any effort. Soon we're going to be going back to the days where everything you got, you earned it. You know, when I look at somebody today and they have really good gear, I'm just be like, huh, did this guy win the lottery or is he actually good? I can't tell because gear doesn't mean shit anymore. Back then, you look at a guy in full epics and you know, this guy's the real deal. Remember walking up to this guy and you're like, whoa, dude, is that a hand of rag? And then this badass guy looks back at you and he's just like, sure. Then in your head you're like, damn, can't wait to be like that. You know, I think it's just better when you earn your in-game gold through playing and not through paying. It's better when you start at level 1 and you work your way up to 60. You know, you build an attachment to your character. You don't just pay the way to the end game. Screw that shit. And you had to earn the respect of your server. Nowadays, you can just be an asshole and queue up and do shit all you want. Back then, you know, if you're a dick, you're gonna get blacklisted. If you're a ninja, nobody's gonna want you anymore. If you took all the best gear and then hop guilds a few times, people are gonna realize what you're doing and nobody's gonna let you into their guild anymore. Your consequences have actions. And that's why it brings me on to the next point. Vanilla WoW was very social. Remember what we did back then when we got stuck on something? We went on a general chat, typed and asked for help with these things. And then 1 out of 3 people might actually help you. People back then were more memorable. Sometimes when leveling, you'll see the same guy multiple times on your faction or maybe the enemy faction. And you're like, hey, it's that guy again. I could do Scarlet Monastery at level 30 and I remember, you know, you group up with a guy named Jimmy and you're like, damn, Jimmy was pretty good. He was a pretty good tank. And then you're running Maridon later when you're hit level like 49, you're going to do some Maridon. You're like, oh dude, it's Jimmy again. Hey, how's it going? And then, you know, you make a friend. I can't wait to meet all the people on my future server on my faction, group up with them and meet some new friends. Vanilla WoW had so much depth. You get 50 choices to make before you even hit the max level. There's so much depth the game still hasn't even figured out. If you don't believe me, go search Warrior Leveling Guide for Vanilla. You'll probably find about 5 different options. The game feels so much better when there's all these options that haven't been figured out. You can downrank your skills. You can pick a talent here or there. Hell, even the raids had much more depth. You could find easier spots to take care of a boss fight. You can pull them into different rooms. Some fights are out there and you're just deciding, you know what, do we need to have some resistance on this fight? Do we need more damage? Other times it's like, okay, this boss is immune to fire. I guess I'm gonna go frost. Even the items had depth. You look at a helm like this and who the hell knows if it's good? So you test it and then you find out, damn, this helmet is really damn good. It's actually one of the best helms a Feral Druid can get forever. So now that I mentioned an item that was really cool, why don't we look at itemization? Uncommon items were actually memorable. And I think we can all say that about Carrot on a Stick. Yet if I think back, I can't name a single green quality item from any other expansion in the game. A green trinket that didn't help in combat being one of the most memorable items in WoW? It really is proof that in vanilla, greens had flavor. Moving on to rares, the fact that some rare quality items were never replaced for some specs was cool. It's another thing that nobody remembers from other expansions. Because in vanilla, rares really did feel important. I got more satisfaction getting most rares than I do getting any epic over the last 10 years. Like, remember when epics actually meant epic? Now, I never played a hunter, but I can still name a bow because that's how epic that thing was. Epics weren't so easy to come by and just handed out to you for free. Getting them was amazing. And I think everybody remembers their first epic. Like, I could easily talk 20 minutes just about the epic items in this game, but I think we gotta move on to how cool the legendaries were. I don't think there's any item in the entire game that's more well known than Thunder Fury. Remember the first time you saw somebody with that thing in the game? I never forget that. Walking up to this guy and going, what the hell is that? That's massive. And then I inspect the guy and I'm like, oh my god, that's a one-hander? Here I am following this guy, fanboying. No, I think it's every WoW player's dream in Classic to get a legendary item. Even you hunters out there are gonna look at this thing and be like, yeah, that's a hunter weapon. And my last point for items, isn't everyone else tired of being looked at as a number? I don't want to be item level X warrior anymore, I want to be Classic wins. And that's what Classic's really about. Vanilla was the only time that classes had a real identity. You knew what everything was gonna do before you even joined the group. You know, when I invite a hunter, I want to invite a hunter because he's a hunter and because I know what hunters do, and they're all gonna do the damn same thing, and that's what I want. Some people really hate that the hybrid builds weren't as viable, but at the same time that made it more special. Because then when you did see a hybrid player, and that guy was actually pretty damn good, you were impressed. You remember this guy. You're like, holy shit. I grouped up with this guy. He was the best Rip Paladin I've ever seen. You're going to tell all your friends, you're going to remember that guy. You know, it's really cool because you can still do really well in those classes. It's just, I just want to go back to the days where when you group up with like a paladin or a shaman or a druid, you know what they're going to do about 90% of the time. And it was really cool with the way that the classes had unique abilities. That's one thing I'm really looking forward to. I think the game worked a lot better when balance was not the top priority. And I can't wait to feel like a badass again because I'm a warrior and I'm the tank and everybody's going to have to bow down to me. You're not the focus of the story. Now let's be honest, MMOs should not be putting you on a goddamn pedestal as some hero for logging into the game. I think MMOs work better when you're another person helping people in the world accomplish shit. You're not just promoted to general because you bought an expansion. The way Vanilla handled it was perfect. You still had these amazing quest lines that were memorable, and you didn't have to throw a cinematic in there saying this happened because you were in the game. The game was the cinematic. Like, we don't need to see a cutscene to see that some famous guy dies. Just let us kill the guy. It's way better when the player makes the journey to get to the point to feel epic. The game shouldn't just force you to be the leader who's instantly epic. No, make yourself become a leader through your in-game actions. Instead of the game telling us that I'm some awesome high lord who did all this shit, how about we just impress real humans and we make the story with real people? And instead of the game putting me on a pedestal, why don't I have people in my server, real players, look at me and look up to me? That's how MMOs should work. That's how Vanilla did work, and that's how Classic is going to work. Vanilla WoW had a clear target audience. It's much more focused. There's people who do like leveling, PvP, PvE, gold making, maybe some twinking. What the hell else do you do besides that? And you know, I think it works better like that. Like today, there's Mythic Plus, Raiders, Rated Battlegrounds, Pet Battlers, Achievement Collectors, Mount Collectors, Altoholics, Role Players, Transmog Collectors, Gold Farmers, Toy Collectors, Dungeon Finders, LFR users. The game's as wide as the ocean, but it's deep as a puddle. Sometimes less is more, and in Vanilla, there's proof in that. We don't need 10 systems that are okay when we have 3 systems that are amazing. I think a lot of us are going to be glad to go back to the game where we feel like we are the target audience again. And that's nothing against retail WoW. You know, I just think that the game is not really made for me anymore. But then again, who is retail WoW targeted at? To find out that, you probably have to ask the designers. My last point is going to be the designers. I'll let these guys introduce themselves.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Jeff.
I'm Alex Frasiabi, Creative Director for World of Warcraft.
Hey guys, Mark Kern here.
These guys look genuinely happy to have made this game. If you didn't know, a lot of the top WoW designers actually came from a MMO called EverQuest. A lot of these guys, they were top players in EverQuest. And if you read their posts about EverQuest before the World of Warcraft days, you can see that these guys were very passionate people. I'm going to read off a short quote from Jeff Kaplan. Jeff Kaplan used to be a player in EverQuest named T-Goal Biddies. Whoever came up with this sheer fisting of an encounter can go fuck themselves. Do me a favor, so I don't waste my guild's time on this kind of jackass shitfest again. Send me an email at tgoal@legacyofsteel.net when you decide to A. implement an encounter that wasn't designed by a retarded chimp chained to a cubicle. And if you want to read the rest of that, you can just go ahead, I have it listed here. And if you look at the next one, Alex was another guy who ran a guild. And look at what he does for his guild quote here. If you're a fucking dumbass and have a tendency to AFK constantly or are a weak little bitch who will burn out under pressure, stuff like that, these guys were truly serious about their games, and it's very passionate. Let's just go with that word. They wanted to make the best goddamn MMO that was ever made. They went out and they did that. And finally, let's end off with Mark Kern. Mark Kern was passionate back then, and to this very day, he hand-delivered the petition for Classic World of Warcraft to Blizzard HQ. This guy was one of the saviors of Classic World of Warcraft, so we have to give a big thanks to Mark Kern. And I think a lot of the reason that Classic WoW was so successful is because the people who designed it were so passionate about making a damn good game. Well, everybody, I hope you enjoyed listening to a vanilla fanboy talk about his favorite game. And this summer, Classic WoW is going to be amazing. Do you guys agree with me that Classic WoW was the best version of WoW? If you disagree, what was your favorite version and why? Let me know in the comments. If you thought it wasn't that bad, maybe check out some of my other content. This has been Classic Wins. Thanks for watching, everybody.